Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we haven't checked out a keyboard case for tablets lately, and I figured it was time to do so. So I got the Logitech Folio in the other day. This is a universal case, which allows you to use just about any 9 or 10-inch tablet in it because it is adjustable. This comes at the expense of its elegance, though, and you'll see what I mean here in a second. Now, I do want to mention, in the interest of full disclosure, this came in free of charge through the Amazon Vine program. However, all the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this review, and no one is reviewing this content before it is posted. All right, so let's take a closer look at the hardware now. This is a Bluetooth keyboard that connects up the usual way to your device. Now, my only disappointment is that it only pairs up with a single device. Logitech has a few other keyboards where you can flick a switch and have it connect to multiple devices. And if it's universal like this one, I was assuming you might have that functionality, but you do not. So every time you want to use a new device, you have to repair to get it all working. Now, this is a universal case, as I mentioned, so you can slide in tablets of various sizes. So I have both the largest and the smallest 9 or 10-inch tablet I have in the repertoire here. So we've got this thin little iPad Pro here. This is the 9.7 iPad Pro. And what you can do here is just slide out these little things in here, and it gets secured in like so. So not too bad there, and you can then lock it into place here and start typing on it. So it is a bit clunky and large, actually, given how this doesn't really take up the full length of the case here, but it does work, and you can get to town. I'll talk more about typing on it in a minute. It's also pretty easy to get the tablet out of here when you want to change them out, so you can easily do that. And then I've got this really big Windows tablet here, a widescreen Windows tablet like many of them are. And this one, thankfully, also goes in pretty easily here. So I'll just put it back down in its position here, and we'll get everything situated. This actually is a larger tablet than the case, but it does actually fit it. And as you can see here, it is kind of sticking out over the side here a little bit, but it is going in, and I can position it just like I did the other one here, and it doesn't feel like it's going to break on me. So it does at least accommodate a very large and thick tablet here, as well as a very thin one like we saw with the iPad. Let's see how this types. Now, you're watching me type a little earlier because I can't type and talk at the same time anymore, but I was actually surprised that I was able to type as well on this as I did. And I think it's due to the fact that the keys on this keyboard are actually very well spaced here, as you can see, and there's a lot of travel to them as well. They go down quite a bit here into the rather large case, so you really get a very good tactile feel. I'm a touch typer, so I'm used to feeling my way around a keyboard, and it's very easy to feel where your fingers are, even though the keys are a little small. So I think if you have big hands, you may not have as good of an experience as I'm having with it, but the keyboard has a very consistent feel across it, and again, it really has a good amount of spacing and tactile feedback here to make it something that works as a decent typing surface. It doesn't do so well, though, when it closes up. So you can see just how large this Folio gets when everything is folded up here. It certainly doesn't protect your device from the elements, although it does prevent the screen from touching the keyboard here. So those plastic holders there also work as a buffer. And then they have this rather inelegant strap here. It kind of reminds me of the old books that you used to carry around with you to kind of keep it all together as you're walking around. So that's how it comes together. So not going to protect it against the elements. I would guess it probably would protect against the fall, perhaps, because there is some distance here between, at least on this device, the distance between the device itself and the outside world. But that larger tablet, as you saw, kind of stuck out the side of it, so your protection will vary based on what your experience is with it. There is a spot here for a stylus, so if you have a pen attached to your device, you can put it in there for safekeeping, so that's a good thing. It looks a little too small, perhaps, for the Apple Pencil, but I think if you are on a Windows tablet, your stylus should fit in there just fine. And then it's run on a couple of coin batteries here. So this is the batteries on it, so it's not rechargeable, so you may want to hang on to a couple of these things, but I'm guessing that you'll probably get a good year or more out of this thing before you have to change the batteries out, even more so if you don't type on it or use it all that often. So by and large, it kind of works as a universal tablet case, at least one that comes in between 9 and 10 inches, but it is not very elegant, as you can see. So it's large, it's clunky, but it does kind of work, I guess, but it's very hard to design something that works with every tablet without it being a little ugly, which is the case here. The keyboard is decent to type on, as you saw. It is very rigid here, so it does work on a lap, but I did find the angle was a little too steep for me when it was on my lap, and there's no real way to adjust it down at all. So this is the angle you get. Works fine fine on a desk, not as well on the lap, even though it stays rigid. This really locks in here so it doesn't flop around too much on the lap, and you don't have to worry about it kind of slipping out on you once it's locked into place, and then you just kind of do that to get it back into its folio mode. So again, a bit ugly, a bit clunky, but if you have multiple tablets, including some really big ones, this will probably accommodate most of what you throw at it. This is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters, including gold level supporters Mark Bollinger, Brian Miller, Mr. Morse, and Cody Falk. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.